This is a book about the Chafetz Chaim by Rabbi Moshe Yashar, and in this book, so it was about the life and teachings of the Chafetz Chaim, and he talks about the different books that the Chafetz Chaim wrote, and one of the books is called Nidchei Israel. This is how the original cover of a book looks like, and if somebody would like to read on a page 270, where it says, "Later he began."
You want to read or should I read? I can read. Saint and sage, his generous nature and charitable character caused him to write another book, Avat Chesed, loving kindness. This is an ethical and legal exposition of the commendable virtues of kindness between one man and another. Later, he began to take interest in the problems of Judaism all through the diaspora. The Russian Jewry was then more or less steady in its place. Immigration was already in vogue, particularly to the American shores. The New World, with its strange environment, created new problems for the migrating Jews. His heart felt extremely uneasy about the future of Judaism in those distant lands, where there was no solid foundation of organized Jewish life. He realized the temptation to which the faithful Jew was exposed, the difficulties which he had to surmount in his effort to observe his traditions. To him, he addressed the book Nidchei Israel, Dispersed Israel. This constitutes a manual, a selection of all the laws whose observance might be challenged by conditions under the new environment. His heartfelt admonitions and solemn exhortations breathe a spirit of tender love and deep sympathy for his brethren across the seas. Concern for their material and spiritual welfare is felt throughout the contents of the book. The author seeks to impress his co-religionists with the importance of Jewish traditions, with their sanctifying and soul uplifting purpose, with the joy and happiness their observance secures.
Thanks so much. So, in this book, in Nidchei Israel, Chafetz Chaim actually decided to write the book, and there's a story behind his decision to write the book, which we're going to I'm going to tell you that story. But first of all, just showed your background, like you read. Many Jews decided to leave Europe between the two world wars, and many of them have heard of the Golden Medina, as it used to be called then, America, and they decided to travel like in the New World. And the Chafetz Chaim, he was one of the greatest spiritual leaders of a generation. He was very influential, and he was highly respected. However, he opposed the immigration to America, because that he believed that a Jewish life could not be kept there properly, and he was deeply concerned about the spiritual situation for the Jews in America in those days. Now, and it wasn't easy to be an Orthodox Jew in America. Keeping his Shabbos was almost impossible. There's a story that there was once a Jew, a pious Jew, who immigrated from Europe to America, and he lived in the Lower East Side. And then he was trying to earn a living. He was looking for some kind of job. So he applied to many positions, and then finally he found a job. But on Sunday, he was fired because he didn't come on a Shabbat. So he came to a point that he didn't have any money, and he didn't have any food. And so he went and applied for a different job, and they asked him, "Are you going to work on the Shabbat?" So he said, "Yes." So he of course he didn't turn up on the Shabbat, and on a Sunday, so his boss, he told him, "You were fired, but why did you tell me that you were going to work on Shabbat?" So the Jew said that he was going to work on Shabbat because it was a pikuach nefesh. He didn't have any food. But afterwards, after he got his first salary, so it wasn't pikuach nefesh anymore. So he didn't come on Shabbat. So that was the situation there. There's even a yeshua in Borough Park with a very strange name for it. It is called Shomrei Shabbos. Now, everyone in the Borough Park is a Shomer Shabbos, but nowadays, Baruch Hashem, but in those days, to be a Shomer Shabbos, it was like not everyone had the ability and the courage to be a Shomer Shabbos. So that was the situation in those days. And there wasn't a kosher food in every place, and there wasn't a mikveh in every town. And some Jews, they believed that under the circumstances, they weren't obligated to keep all of the mitzvot. So actually, the Chafetz Chaim, he opposed the immigration to America. But something happened that didn't change his mind, but it caused him to take a different kind of action. And this story is what we're going to study today, because it is based on a conversation that the Chafetz Chaim had with his son, Rabbi Aryeh Leib. He was his eldest son, and he also helped him. He published his books. This is how it started him not to go. So the man got upset, and he said, "I did not come here for advice. I came here for a blessing." So with the Chafetz Chaim, Rabbi Aryeh Leib heard the conversation, and he turned it to immigration to America. So Rabbi Aryeh Leib, his son, told him, "You have got an obligation to immigrate to America." So the Chafetz Chaim asked him to explain how could this be. So he said that there are clear verses in the book of Yirmiyahu that prove that you have to immigrate to America. So, yeah. So if you could please turn to the book of Yirmiyahu.
I probably doubt that's true and they misread it.
Well, we'll see. Page 1175. If you don't have the Hard Scroll edition, so look at Yirmiyahu chapter 42. Okay? So in chapter 42, yeah, I am just going to tell you a small background for the story, and then we are going to see the verses. Okay, so after the murder of back in 10 days, I am going to pray to Hashem, and then I'm going to tell you what to do. Okay, so he prayed, and they came back to him, and don't go to Egypt. And they decided to go to Egypt. Okay, so if you could please look at chapter 42, verse 19. Okay. So if could please read. Okay. From
19?
verse 19. Okay. Chapter 42, 19.
Okay. Diber Hashem Alechem Sherit Yehuda. Hashem spoke to them, the ornament of Yehuda. Al tavo Misraim. So you should surely that you have surely known me to Hashem our God. So V'agid lachem hayom, and I will tell you guys today, v'lo shematem b'kol Hashem Elokechem, and you will not listen to the voice of Hashem, v'chol asher shalachani aleichem, and to all that I sent to you. V'ata yodoa teda, and now you should surely know, ki b'acher barav u'v'ader tamutu, because in the sword, with the famine, and with the pestilence, you shall surely die. Makom asher chafetztem, in the place that you desire.
But it's a great video. He translated it, and it is a very important. Now that you mentioned the translation, it is true that many translations aren't accurate, because every translation is actually a commentary, right? So the best translation for the Tanakh is of Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan, Zatzal. He has got a translation called The Living, but the best Rabbi Kaplan. Okay, so the prophecy was very clear. Do not go to Egypt, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you please look at chapter 43, okay, verse 7, okay, perhaps from verse 5. Who would like it to read from verse 5?
I can do that.
Okay, great.
Okay. ויחף יוחנן בן קרח וכל שרי החיילים את כל שארית יהודה אשר שבו מכל הגויים אשר נדחו שם לגור בארץ יהודה. So, this is Yochanan son of Kareach, and all the army officers took all the remnant of Yehuda that had returned from all the countries where they had been dispersed to lie in the land of Yehuda.
Mm-hmm.
So, את הגברים ואת הנשים ואת נריהו. The man, the woman, the children, the doctors of the king, all the people whom Nebuchadnezzar, son of Safran, and Yirmiyahu the prophet, and Baruch son of
one more verse.
And they came to the land of Egypt, for they didn't listen to the voice of the Lord, and they came to Tachpanes.
Okay, great, thanks. So we went to Egypt, and who came with them?
The men, the women, the children, the commissioners, Gedaliah ben Achikam ben Shaphan, Yirmiyahu ben and Baruch ben Neriah.
Okay.
Neriyahu, and Yochanan.
So also.
So I heard that
also the prophet Yirmiyahu came with him.
I heard that they kidnapped Yirmiyahu when they did it. He didn't come by himself. He was kidnapped when they went down to Egypt. Mm-hmm. No clue why they kidnapped him.
So this is one interpretation, but first let's ask what the contradiction is. What is the contradiction between both of the verses, right? Now it says, but Yirmiyahu, he gave the prophecy not to go down to Egypt, right? And then it says that he went as well. He also went with them. So the question is, how could it be that Yirmiyahu also went to Egypt? Okay, so as you said, there's one interpretation that says that he was kidnapped, but according to the Pshat, he went on his own accord. And it says, Ki lo sham'u b'kol Hashem, and they did not listen in the voice of Hashem. Why did he go with them?
Because he wanted to protect them, kind of. Wanted to be with them, because he's like the prophet. So if they wanted to be with them.
Okay, good. So you were saying that the prophet's job is to be with the nation, and that is true. So the answer is that it is true that Yirmiyahu received a prophecy that the people should not. When they decided to go anyway, he could not abandon them. In Poland, he was very moved by the words of the son, and he said that he could not sleep the whole night. And in the morning, he told his son, I came to the conclusion that I'm actually obligated to go with the people to America. However, I am too weak and I am unfit to go on the difficult book called Nitchei Israel. In order that I could. This is actually the story behind why the Chafetz Chaim. It is true that he opposed the immigration to America, but he plans to go to Eretz Israel and to live in Eretz Israel. And the Chafetz Chaim, the year that the Chafetz Chaim passed away, in 1933, when the Nazis they got to power, which is going to happen. He understood that something terrible is going to happen even then. And after the prayer in his house, so it says that he told everyone that there is going to be a very great danger, life-threatening danger for all the Jews of Europe. And all during the last year of his life in 1933, and when the Nazis got to power, so one of the Rosh Yeshivas asked him, what is going to happen to the Jews of Europe? Because the Nazis declared that they want to kill all the Jews. So nobody can destroy the people of Israel, because what it says, if you could please look at the Tanakh again, in the Parashat Vayishlach, okay, in the book of Bereshit, Parashat Vayishlach.
So in a few more weeks.
That's right. Yeah. So it says. I will tell you exactly the verse. It is when Yaakov he goes to the land of Israel, okay, and he divides his family into two, okay. It is at the beginning of the Parashat of Vayishlach. If somebody could read from verse 7 until verse 9. Okay?
verse 7. Okay. וישובו המלאכים אל יעקב לאמור, באנו אל אחיך אל עשיו וגם הולך לקראתך ו400 איש עמו. The angels returned to Yaakov, saying, he came to our brother, to Esav. Moreover, he's heading toward you, and 400 men are with him. וירא יעקב מאוד, ויצר לו, ויחץ את העם אשר איתו, ואת הצאן ואת הבקר, והגמלים לשני מחנות. For he said, if Esav comes to the one camp and strikes it down, then the remaining camp shall survive.
Okay, great, thanks. So he says that the remaining camp is going to survive. So they asked the Chafetz Chaim, where is going to be the remaining camp that is going to survive? So the Chafetz Chaim answered, this it says in the Nevim, Behar Tzion Tihye Pleta V'haya Kodesh. Behar Tzion. Where is a Har Tzion? In the land of Israel. In the land of Israel, this is going to be the place where the nation of Israel is going to survive. And remember that this was in 1933, just before the Chafetz Chaim he passed away. And there's a story about Rabbi Herzog, the grandfather of today's president. He was the chief rabbi at that time, and he was visiting America during World War II because he was trying to save the Jews. And the government officials, the U.S. government officials told him, do not go back to the land of Israel because it is dangerous and because the Germans are planning to conquer it. There was the Field Marshal Rommel, who was a Nazi general, who was planning to conquer the land of Israel.
They were also planning to conquer America too.
That's right, but there was a greater danger in Israel, and they told him, don't try going back. So Rabbi Herzog said, he told them that there is a midrash, a very strong midrash is saying that there was one destruction, there were two destructions of the temple, there's not going to be a third destruction. I am going back to the land of Israel. This is a very strong belief that Chazal told us that there's not going to be a third destruction. Since the land of Israel is beginning to be built, and the nation of Israel is coming back, and we could see the redemption coming, there's not going to be another destruction for the land of Israel. And he went back, and then when a Rommel, he came close, the rabbis of Jerusalem, first of all, it is important to say that there was a very big danger that the Nazis would invade Eretz Yisrael, and the Jews in Eretz Yisrael, they feared it very much, and they had plans to fight the Nazis from the Carmel Mountains, and it was called the plan operation of the Metzada 2. Okay, they said that we're going to fight the Nazis from the Carmel Mountains. And at the time, the rabbis of Jerusalem, they prayed that they had the kever of Or Chaim Kadosh, which is just below a Har HaZeitim. And they felt that everything is going to be okay. And at the time, really, Montgomery, the British general, he defeated the Rommel in the great battle of El Alamein. So the Chafetz Chaim was right, and also Rabbi Herzog was right, and it is extraordinary how a Gedolei Israel, they can see it to the distance, they could see it to the future, and they could really feel the spiritual pulse of the nation of Israel. So these are the stories that I wanted to share with you tonight about the Chafetz